We weren't live on air for that slightly X-rated conversation. Hey everyone, and
Yeah,
welcome to
I
my
don't know why you
hangout.
had. I don't know why you had to say that really disgusting, overly sexual thing, Kristi. I feel slightly violated. I'll be honest.
I'm fine.
And by the way, of course, it wasn't me. It was Kevin. But actually, it was Jonathan and Kevin together, I think, that came up with it. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the happy hour. I am Kristi. Kevin is also here, as always, because he's the co-host of the Kristi and Kevin Happy Hour. And joining us this week is some random geek. So, welcome.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
We didn't invite you. Actually, you just showed up in a hangout offering to be in the clip. So
That's right. I reached out to them. Today happened to be a day off. I just wanted a day off of work to do YouTube stuff or whatever, or just have a day off. And it sounds like Kevin and Kristi were like, "Hey, let's have a happy hour." Or, "Do you want a happy hour?" I said, "Hey, Kristi, can I come on? Thank you. Can I come on?"
But so that's it. We get somebody else from the chat on, and also finally, after many weeks of going back and forth in the chat and not being able to find her channel, Mariana has her wrench this week. So congratulations. And speaking of the chat, Kevin, is there anything you'd like to say to the chat?
I value your input. I'm glad you're here.
Oh no, it must be opposite day in Kevin world.
Nah, fuck you. Fuck all of you.
But especially
young Thomas, of course.
Yes, of course. And yeah, Jonathan, what's it like? Do you have anything to say to the chat now that you're outside of it?
Oh my God, you people look exactly the same to me. Hello there.
Like, oh, you look so tiny from up there, down there.
You all look like ants. I could crush you beneath my fucking feet. Peasants.
I can see my house from up here. Okay. So, guys, we have basically a drama-laden, lowbrow show lined up for you this evening. But really, that's what you come here for. If you wanted, highbrow stuff, you'd go to PBS. If you want progressive takes on internet drama and also the ridiculousness of modern politics, you come here. So welcome again. And we're going to start off. Actually, Jonathan, you had a nominee, and since you had actually, I'm thinking of something else first. You had a nominee for last week's chat comment, the fire comment for the chat.
Yes.
Would you? Yeah. I don't know if Kevin had a chance to see this one, so I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
Kristi, eventually you're going to learn. I've not done any preparation for this.
We're just looking at
what the hell is going on. I learned to speak the English language many years ago. That is literally my preparation for this discussion.
That's a good thing that we know that. So
I've just noticed.
Anyway, so yes, from last happy hour chat fire, Laura Strom said in the chat, I literally just opened up the live stream. The first thing I heard is Yeti pubes. Perfect.
Oh, I thought it was the one about Yeti pubes sounding like a cooler that you had highlighted.
I highlight both of them actually.
Okay.
So that was what it was supposed to be. But yeah, that was the next one. The next babe, Yeti pubes. When your pubes are also really expensive brand of hot and cold cups of coolers.
Nice.
Yeah. So shout out there to the snarkiness from the chat last week. And moving right along, it looks like the only person to bring a pub quiz question is our guest this week. He is the most prepared person in the room.
Well, I just want to say, before you get on to that,
I am some random geek, and I figure it has to be like a geeky related question.
No, you guys, it's going to be a talk over tonight session. Arm wrestling.
Because I'm talking and I don't know if anyone can fucking hear me.
We can validate your existence, Kevin. We're here for you.
No, you need to pay me attention.
All the time.
The moment's gone now. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Go on.
So the pub quick question is, so hopefully I don't cut out. Everyone knows the Studio Ghibli, and they know of the director Hayao Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli. But what other famous director has been?
Okay. Yeah, you're never going to do the pub quiz question again. Sorry, we're taking that right away from you. Hey, everybody, what's the capital of Colorado?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's way too niche. You did warn me. It was pretty geeky, but if you want to finish your question, you go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Nobody will get it right but you, but go ahead.
Well, if Hank was in the live chat, maybe he would. So, what other famous director from like Studio Ghibli is known for being from Studio Ghibli? Name another director from Studio Ghibli. That will be the more fairer question. But yeah, people would just have to like Wikipedia it or Google it.
Okay,
Dave.
or you can do the alternative. Yeah, Dave.
Dave Smith.
This guy, he gets him every time. Yeah, and your alternative for me is, what is the capital of Colorado? I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to look that up. Maybe somebody in the chat actually knows, but
Well, I only know Denver and Boulder.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's Boulder, but I could be wrong because I actually don't care about the capital of Colorado, so it's not information I retain.
Why are you so mountain phobic?
Yes, I am. I have a berg phobia. That's what they call it in Germany. A berg phobia.
Again.
Well, yeah, but it's Germany.
So, how are you? By the way, Kevin, we didn't really get a chance to check in with us because we had so many things to get through in the opening. But how are you doing?
I'm sensationally well. How are you?
Yeah, it's Friday, so it's good. Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's like noon where I am, but like that doesn't stop me from drinking. This is my day off.
Right.
Don't pretend like it's just drinking. Just tell us you went straight to the vein as soon as you woke up.
Yep, rum and Coke, shook it up in the syringe, right? Get the fizz out, otherwise it really tickled. And then mainlined it, baby, in an IV bag.
You're far too innocent. I was talking about him taking heroin.
I'm in Seattle. I'm in the Seattle area, so we're kind of known for that.
Exactly. You've basically
Damn.
the two things I know about Seattle is that you take lots of heroin and occasionally write stories about white whales that involve too many whale facts and not enough fucking narrative. That's all I know.
It also rains a lot.
That was exactly. That was almost a highbrow joke there because it was a literary reference, even though it also contained illicit drugs.
Yeah. Which is where you were relating for, just kind of sprinkling in the highbrow on top.
Exactly. My jokes are like reading Proust while high as fuck.
That's an interesting mental image.
Well, you're welcome.
Well, it's in Seattle because it rains a lot and there's a lot of like overcast and clouds. There's people. It's a well-read city, and also Washington State's one of the first states to like legalize pot. So there you go.
There you go. I'd move there, but I'm pretty happy where I am. But I would consider it. I would like to try the West Coast a little bit before I kick the bucket. So guys,
if you go in West Coast, there's LA. The rest of it's intellectual and cultural desert.
LA is the cultural desert. The rest of it's nice.
How dare you?
Of all the places in the world I want to visit, I think LA is on the bottom. It's really down there.
Oh, fucking hell. It's one of the great cities of the world, surely.
It's simply just concrete. It's flat and concrete. It goes on forever.
Pittsburgh would be at the bottom. I don't know what would be in Pittsburgh that would be worth going other than maybe Steelers game.
Penguins?
Good comeback. More sports.
Exactly. Well, I like the fact that our audience aren't sporty particularly, so a lot of them will have heard me say penguins and thought I meant going to the zoo.
I like the fact that our audience puts up with us talking bullshit for the first 10 minutes of the show instead of getting
I don't know. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know why anyone listens. I don't understand it.
This is for us, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just along for the ride.
I mean, it is literally just some people. I mean, we're not in a pub because we're hundreds of miles away anyway.
No, those houses for me.
Well, yeah, thousands. Yeah, now we've got Leggingsman in the room. We're not literally in a pub, but we're basically just talking. The fact that this is being broadcast is irrelevant, frankly.
Yeah, we just happen to hit record. Otherwise, we'd be talking about the same stuff. And the stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight. So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll do the Jordan Peterson stuff at the end. We'll have a little bit of a highbrow talk first, just because it's very newsworthy and it's going to be coming out shortly. We're going to talk about Dr. Ford's allegations against Justice Kavanaugh, and then we're going to talk about MythCon at length. So very quickly, you guys, they appear to be in negotiations to have Dr. Ford testify next week, and Justice Kavanaugh. Looks like the Republicans want to purposely set it up as a he said, she said by not inviting any witnesses, by not having the FBI investigate, which was a precedent set in the Anita Hill investigation. That FBI investigation during the Anita Hill Clarence Thomas hearings took 3 days. So should we go first, Jonathan, for reaction, and then Kevin for your reaction?
My reaction is the Republicans, they always claim to want civility from the Democrats, but they never act any civility for when they're in power and their own things. And so
they act like internet shitlords.
Exactly.
One rule for them, the other rules are for people who don't agree with them.
I mean, it's like with all of the precedents earlier, that doesn't matter now, and they will say anything just to like, let's get this confirmation through, get this confirmation through. No, you're breaking the rules, even though that's not against rules. Don't do that. No. Sharon, I'm doing this thing with my finger. I'm doing this thing with my finger to you.
Okay,
that's
visually.
What she said.
I teed it up for Kevin, and he just knocked it out of the park.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, now we're back to sports.
Yep, sports and sex. Those are the two main themes of the show. Whoa, people in the streets.
Oh, shouty Germans.
Yeah. By the way, a couple of weeks ago, we had some shouting in the street. I think it was people just someone had let a cart run into a car, and there was a bit of kerfuffle. But afterwards, by the way, no cops showed up, no sirens, nothing like that. So apparently, it was just a little neighborhood.
Well, as long as they're not invading Poland again, I'm cool with it. Just let Germany be.
Okay.
As long as they're not starting, epoch-defining world wars, I'm all.
Oh yeah, or redefining Europe by leaving it. The EU. Anyway, yeah. So Kevin.
Oh, Jesus! Like it's not fucking me enough already.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm beating up on you, and you were one of the same people who voted to remain.
No, indeed.
So your take on the Dr. Ford thing, looking from the outside, Kevin?
Horrific, and America sinks further into the Trump morass. You've got a president literally doing victim blaming on Twitter, and the Congress doing victim blaming, and the Senate doing victim blaming, and people doing jokes about Ruth Bader Ginsburg being sexually assaulted by Abraham Lincoln. America, the rape culture was always there. It was rarely quite so in your face as now. It's really appalling. But Kevin can't possibly have done it because Roy Moore said so. Oh, bollocks, that makes it worse.
Yeah. It's always these men standing up for other men for what they did 30 years ago.
Well, it's interesting, and I think it's a fairly good comparison that men come forward about being raped by Catholic priests and are quite rightly treated with dignity, well, a certain amount of dignity and respect, and believed quite rightly, and it's a national and international scandal. Women do the same thing about Kavanaugh or Trump or various other people in the entertainment industry or whatever, and are treated with not just skepticism or suspicion, but outright denialism, and treated as if they are at fault for having been raped.
Oh, but that's and this victim blaming goes all the way back to the Bible. I mean, in the passages in the Hebrew scriptures, it says, if a woman's in a city and she doesn't scream, she's guilty of adultery, not rape. Well, what if he puts his hand over her mouth or puts a rag in her mouth? Then what? So it's just this burden.
I mean, I'm not gonna go for technicality from the Bible because, if we're going to apply technicality,
the attitudes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, absolutely, the attitudes come from that aspect. I mean, in the Bible, it literally says that if a woman is raped, not only do you not have to atone for having raped her, all you have to do is go to the father and pay him, 10 shekels or something, and then you own the woman you raped.
Right. Well, you have to marry her because you defiled her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
nice for her.
She's now you having raped her means she's now worthless to any other man.
Yeah, it's like if someone picks up your
herself.
Yeah, it's like someone picks up your Big Mac and then they lick it, and you're like, well, fuck, I can't eat that now. You just eat it, you asshole. That's how they treat women, like that. Yeah, but
I lick it. It's now mine.
Yeah, if you have more to say on that, because I have some thoughts. I'm gonna have a bit of a rant.
I suggest, as the WOMs in the room, you be allowed to rant at will.
Sorry, I muted myself because I was going to
Hello?
take a drink. Yeah.
So
Right.
even women are muting themselves over
Yes,
this.
I am. I'm
This is
silencing
terrible.
myself. It's the patriarchy. It's patriarchal norms I've instilled and internalized. All right, so really big picture stuff and then little picture stuff. Big picture stuff is you have to realize that the Republicans are close to achieving their entire goal for the last 30, going on 40 years, which was to make it harder for the Democratic base to vote through voter ID laws and voter suppression tactics, by gerrymandering districts to guarantee that they would always have power and the Democrats would have to get 56 or 58% of the vote just to like break even and have a chance at flipping a seat. And they want to stack the courts. So to turn over to reject any challenges to these voter ID laws or these gerrymandering. That's what their real goal is. They are working toward one party rule, and they are one woman and attempted rape accusation away from getting what they want and having the possibility of controlling the institutions of America that used to be a democracy, even though they're going to be a minority of the population for decades to come. And that's the real existential challenge that we're facing. And it's why they're pushing so hard, despite their own negative public perceptions of how they're handling this. They're so close to their goal, it doesn't matter anymore, because if they get this, they'll be able to try to take back houses and stuff and really cement in their power structure forever.
And obviously scrap Roe v. Wade and various other
Oh yeah,
progressive
they're going
changes.
to allow deregulation. They're going to, basically keep corporate personhood, keep money as speech, to keep rich people having more speech than poor people. It's going to be oligarchy. It'll be institutionalized oligarchy.
Yeah, and if they get the hold, like they will, it's going to like cause me to lose faith in the institutions. It would be us to be able to reform it back. And as I have some faith in the institutions now, but it's like I'm a radical. I want like significant anarchism, but that's me. But if I don't know what I will do if I lose faith in the institutions, and I'm trying to imagine like other people and where they are if they themselves also lose faith in the institutions if they haven't already.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Westminster model, it's designed to be temporary one-party dictatorship. One party rules and they pass the policies, and then at the next election they're held accountable. But another principle of the Westminster election system is that governments can change parties, and you have to put up with the party's policies when they have power, knowing that if you get into power next time, you'll have a chance to put in your policies. If you denied people the chance to ever change parties, then you're going to get to revolution. And yeah, the American system is designed to swap between the parties and also to have the parties be a check on each other, across the houses, across the branches. But this has been a long-term. This is like ALEC, the legislative exec committee that is organized by rich Republicans, and they churn out copycat legislation like on voter suppression and stuff, and they give it to Republican legislators and governors, and they just pass these cookie-cutter bills all across the country. It's a systematic thing. They're really organized and well prepared to assemble all this power and then keep it and wield it. So it really is this midterm election is possibly our last chance to, if they get Kavanaugh in, it's going to be long-term damage. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but at least with the census coming up in 2020, if these gerrymandering, if the Republicans keep control of the legislatures and the governorships when we're doing the next census, then that's it. That's American democracy over. And then on a micro level, one of the things that we keep focusing on, and the media keeps focusing on, and I think overly, is whether or not so there's two parts of it. It's whether or not he did this. And right now she's got a very credible claim and there's a witness they're hiding. So the evidence is tilting toward her. But also he said he didn't do it. And if he goes before Congress and lies, then that is disqualifying. I actually think that he lied about it now, before he testifies under oath. It's disqualifying. To lie about that crime is disqualifying. And I also learned something from Rachel Maddow, who is wonderful, but she goes on too long, as I've said in the past. She needs to tighten her stories up. But the crime took place in Massachusetts or Maryland, one of the M states on the coast, I forget. the prep school that he was attending and where Dr. Ford lived at the time. It does not have a statute of limitations on sexual assault crimes. It is very possible that if and the only reason that the local police haven't investigated the crime is because they said Dr. Ford hasn't filed a complaint. She could at any time file a complaint, and the police department would investigate that complaint. And if they had enough evidence, you could see a sitting Supreme Court justice arrested and tried, because there's no protection against arrest for justices.
That would be something to watch, almost like straight out of the movie, if that happens. But right now, I don't want that to come to that, because I don't want Brett Kavanaugh to be on the Supreme Court. Period. Right now,
honestly, the last 2 years have felt like a Netflix series, and this is a spin-off. This is just a spin-off show. That's what it feels like. So anyway, thank you for my rant. It was just to say, watch out for the big picture, and don't forget to look at what he says now and how he handles himself now as representative of his character. So, yeah.
It reminds me of that Vox video that I liked and tweeted out. It follows the pattern that a lot of men in power seem to always have, where they deny it or said it never happened. And the Vox video was really good at showing how he's just one of many men that follow this pattern when they are accused of sexual assault.
Yes. Yeah, it's a playbook that they have. And it always involves smearing the woman and making the perpetrator the victim.
Or even if it did happen, it doesn't matter, or something like that, which is disgusting as well.
Yep. So, should we get on to MythCon?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin,
because we've already talked, we haven't talked enough about weird fucking sexual
yeah, it's kind of a theme of the show tonight. Sadly, because of the kinds of content we cover, it's a theme of most shows. So you guys might know that MythCon is happening. It's happening tomorrow. Tonight is the party. It's all kicking off. And that's why we were doing our little pre-MythCon show here to go over some of the highlights of what might be happening.
Before we even get to that, Sargon has already let down his new political party. Because for those who don't know outside of Britain, and actually probably most people in Britain don't know, that the United Kingdom Independence Party, UKIP, its annual conference is taking place in my own hometown of Birmingham, or Birmingham as it's properly pronounced. And he didn't speak there because he's flown to Milwaukee.
Streets full of gammon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's Birmingham anyway. So I mean, that's.
Oh, come on! It's Muslim Central, aren't they? Going in there with a show.
There are some Muslim folk around the town, absolutely, but not quite as many as Fox News once claimed when they said that 100% of Birmingham was Muslim, which was news to me and everyone I know. Yeah.
I think it's got a pretty high Muslim population relative to other urban areas of Britain, and I would imagine it's maybe 15%.
Oh, it's actually slightly more than that. It's about 1 in 5, which is
so 20%.
way higher than the national average. But it's 1 in 5.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not 100%.
Right. It's definitely not 100%.
No.
But I heard it was 100% of Fox News or something, and they never lie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's got news in the title, so it can't be wrong. Absolutely.
So we've got a piece of entertainment lined up for you guys. It's to do a little triangulation here between people appearing at MythCon and those who were included in a report that came out this week about the Alternative Influence Network on YouTube, which, according to the author, looks at appearances on shows and relationships between channels of those who are, let's see if I can find it, political positions that are, I can't find it because it's super, super tiny print, but basically you have
political position from mainstream to libertarianism and conservatism to avert white nationalists.
Yes.
While
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. So basically it's kind of like the center to the right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, this came out. It made many people on YouTube angry, even though it's just based on observation. It's simply observing reality and counting, and yet they're offended. But Kevin, I think, knows some of these players more than I do because of his manosphere expertise. So Jonathan has the map up, and Kevin, if we're going to go through and try to name as many of these people that they're featuring as we can, and then Jonathan's going to check the map and give us a ding, ding, ding whenever they appear. So can you see my screen all right? Can you see the people?
I can, but I'm going to have to squint because it's quite small.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't know how
obviously we've got Carl Benjamin in the top left. Well, you're going to have to lock on your screen because if
right,
every time
no, that's true. You're right.
Leggingsman, which I presume is your surname, Leggingsman, yes? One of the Gloucestershire Leggingsmans. Yeah, good old family.
Famously.
Yes. Every time he laughs, it's gonna you need to lock on your screen, Kristi. Come on,
I have, but you might not be able to see it. I don't know. I have locked on my screen.
Okay.
You can see it.
Right. So
there.
It's locked.
I'm locked on. I am.
Okay.
Locked on.
Okay. Now get the image up then. Okay. Right. There we go.
Bossy.
Jesus.
You're bossy.
No, you haven't. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on here. Right. So you've got fucking prick of a sad, right? Then you've got who's that bloke?
Oh, he's definitely on the list.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, he's
Jonathan,
one of the
you got to
main
jump
hubs.
in on that.
Okay. Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah. I don't know who the bloke next to him is on the right. Smiley McWhiteman.
Yeah, I don't know him either.
No.
Oh,
is that Godless Spell Checker? Because Dave Smalley tweeted out a picture of himself wearing a shirt that said boats and hoes. Because he and Godless Spellchecker, he and Godless Spellchecker, he said in the picture, were in Milwaukee, I guess, maybe, or they were somewhere in front of water, and they did a picture and hashtag MythCon. So maybe that's who that is.
Okay, maybe that's him. I don't know if he's on the list. Anyways,
I don't think so because he's not a YouTuber.
Okay. Well, next to that is that Roaming Millennial possibly?
Yes, that is.
It's quite a small image.
Yeah, yes, there's Lori Chan. Yeah, Lori Millennial. She is somewhere on here, I bet. I just haven't seen her yet, but I bet she's on here. She has to be.
She's on.
Yes, there is. Okay, yeah. Medium-sized red dot. Whatever that means.
Yeah, we got some black guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not me calling him some black guy. That's the name of the channel.
Yeah,
I'm not being slightly racist there.
Derek Blackman is his real name. Yeah,
Derek Blackman. Okay, so he should have gone with some black man then, surely.
Yeah,
that would have been a better name. But anyway,
it was been so punny.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Then we've got nicey shoe on head.
Shona, yep, she should be on here. Yeah, she's appeared on several times.
Then we've got the living token, Bunty King.
I think Bunty King is on here. Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's
Yep, there he is. A small influencer, but widely connected.
So that's 4 in the first line, and I don't know about you. Yeah.
Who's the next line then?
I don't know who the first woman is.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. To be honest, I'm not sure.
Angela Bonini. So I don't know her at all.
Okay. Then we've got Mr. I'm definitely not trying to get laid at all by putting out a creepy message on the Twitters. Yeah.
I have that cloud hanging over me.
That cloud? Richard, that cloud carrier.
Mr. Penis Carrier himself. Yes.
He's not on the list because he's not an influencer.
He's not.
No.
He's an influencer in a rather more creepy manner, actually. But yes,
he's not a YouTube influencer.
Just not on YouTube. No, I don't know who the next 2 women are. Actually,
I think Melissa Chen and Karen Gard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't think they're on there, are they?
No. I'm not going to even look.
Okay, who's the dude next to them then?
I don't know who that is either.
All these white people look the same to me. I can't tell the difference.
The only person I know then is Jeff Holiday, and he's on that list.
Yeah, Jeff Holiday is. I don't know who the black woman is between them in the creepy white man sandwich there. Then we've got Chris Reagan, who likes to
ding 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 ding, definitely
unwittingly parrot Bob's mantra without realizing it. Bob's mantra, of course, being the absolute cornerstone of white nationalist quote unquote ideology.
Why is it called Bob's Bantram?
A guy called Bob Whittaker was formerly actually a mainstream politician, conservative politician who went full fash, and it's basically it goes along the lines of was it the liberal establishment want multiculturalism in white nations and only white nations and never for non-white nations and all
right.
that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and he basically almost word for word, although I believe it was unwitting in the sense that he wasn't aware that the white nationalists quite talked in that way, but he was parroting Bob's mantra, which is the absolute fucking cornerstone of white nationalist identity. Anyways, yeah, so fuck him. Then we've got the absolutely adorable Boston's Rose, Kristi, and then a slightly less fabulous red-haired woman. Yes, Miss Jacqueline Glenn, who I don't know, is she on the list, Jacqueline Glenn?
No.
I'm checking.
I don't think she's ever had those types on her channel. And
no, I don't think she. Well, she's certainly done videos with Blair White, for instance. I know that much.
Yeah,
and of course she's played the rather arcane game, which actually leads into she's got the soft end, the liberal end of this gradient of shitbaggery, as far as I'm concerned. She may not have been on the official list, but she's done lots of videos about how the left are really bad, and she's done in the time she said she was going to hold Trump's feet to the fire. She hates Donald Trump. She's done 2 videos about Donald Trump in the time he's been president. So yeah, fuck you, Jacqueline.
one per year, nice.
Yeah, exactly. And a person who's built their career A on plagiarism and B on atheism, and she won't do a video about how Donald Trump and his crew are religious fundamentalists trying to fuck America.
Yeah.
Jacqueline Glenn is not on the list of the YouTuber influencers, though.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, she doesn't do the type deal, but yeah, she's as far as I'm concerned, she's on that gradient, even if she's not officially on the list. Anyway, I don't know any of the next 3 people.
That's fine. We'll skip them.
Yeah,
why don't we just go to the next line?
I just want to focus on 2 across from Jacqueline Glenn. Glorious jawline on him. I'll give him that. I don't know who the fuck he is, but that is a jawline that can be down on me any day. Who's the next guy? Black and white photo. It's too small. I can't see who he is.
Oh, do you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Stephen Knight, I think. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. I recognize the name.
Go onto the website and actually find out the names of these people, couldn't we? But never mind.
Well, I have the speakers and the events tab from MythCon open up, so I have a kind of looking through. Wait a minute, is there on the panels and stuff like that? And they don't have here's this photo and this is their name. No, it's all their pictures are on their panels that they're a part of and stuff like that.
You have to scroll up and down.
Okay.
Yeah, scroll up and down.
Kevin, you recognize Theron Mayer. She's in the middle with the black shirt.
Yes. Well, I was just going to say that I don't know who the woman is, and I don't know who the person is with Jordan Peterson there in the picture. I don't know who that is. But fair play. And then Theron Mayer, who's a fascinating character who I did a hangout with years ago now when she was a right-wing piece of garbage, and who seems to have gotten a lot better in recent times, albeit still a bit problematic as fuck, but whatever. It's fine as long as you're not being a total twat.
I respect that Theron Meyer and her change the character, and recently I haven't hear anything that she said that to me is outlandish. Is oh my god, or why do you say that? No, I respect Theron Meyer for the most part.
Yeah, she's changed for the better, and that has to be applauded. Well done to her. Anyways, I don't know who the next 2 are. But they look like they're in a kind of photo shoot for some sort of band situation there. But I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know. And then allegedly trying to sexually assault 14-year-olds at knife point behind a church. Monday Matt.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. He's on the list. He's not a big influencer, but he's connected.
Yeah, he's on the softer end of it. He does videos about comic books and the Batman films. And, he's just a nicey. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Oh, don't punch the Nazis. The Nazis are okay. Freedoms of the peaches. Ignore the corpse of this young girl that I've definitely not got in the trunk of my car. Allegedly.
Always allegedly.
Then we've got
So by my count, I have 7 so far.
yeah.
And I-
Then we've got the worthless human slave of a cat and the worthless human slaves of Christian children, together in a picture, which is odd. I don't know why you sat on St. Nicholas's lap there.
Oh, who doesn't want to sit on St. Nicholas' lap? Everyone wants that, like, one gift that they never got. The miniature Oscar Wilde Minimobile, the whistle.
For me, it was the Barbie sing-along mic where the radio frequency tuned in and you could like sing along to the radio.
I just wanted something nice and simple, like a 9-inch Black Mamba. Is that so terrible? Really? Jesus. But you put that in one fucking letter. You put that in one letter to Santa Claus, and they send you to see a therapist.
Kevin, how old are you when you sent that letter?
Look, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. That's between me and Saint Nick.
Yeah, and the statute of limitations.
I'll be honest.
When it passes, he'll tell you.
Exactly.
When it's up, he'll tell you.
It's under a super injunction at the moment. It's complicated. Let's move on. Next, then we've got It's a Me, Mario.
Yes, not an influencer, but he is basically funding the shitlords to come.
Yes,
all these influencers to come.
Funding a slap suit to try and silence opponents because the freedom of the peaches.
In the case of Carrier.
Was
he
that
might
sorry?
not make it. Well, I said that he's funding all these people to come. And I said,
Oh, she might not.
Try to.
That is disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You are just mad that you didn't think of it.
Absolutely. Of course I am. Exactly. I was talking to myself. I was giving myself a pep talk there. Then we've got an even creepier motherfucker who apparently looks like a fatter version of me, which is, I have to say, it's one of the most hurtful comments anyone's ever left under my videos. The quarter.
No, Kevin, he doesn't look good enough to be a potato with glasses. I'm sorry.
He
doesn't rise to that level.
That's true.
Plus, his hair always stays the same, whereas you're constantly, you're like a chia pet.
I am.
You are. Oh, Kevin Chia Pet. Oh, please, somebody make that out of clay. Oh, I will buy that. I will Kevin Chia Pet face. I will grow little alfalfa seeds or whatever it is, and then I'll put it as my avatar. You do that, I'll make that
thank
happen.
you. Thank you.
There were chia heads. There were chia heads. That actually was a product that they made.
But I want it to look like Kevin.
Yes, exactly.
Preferably pulling a face, like his current picture on Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got all distracted with the chia pet.
Who's the guy next to him? The ball bloke. The picture's quite small.
Not David Smalley, Clay Ruckbridge.
Oh, okay.
No, and he's not on the influencers list either. Neither is the quartering, which surprised me because
he's relatively new on the scene. He was just a comic book Magic the Gathering twat until his harassing got out, and now he's realised he's only just picked up on the grift. You see, so he's not on the radar of academic types.
Yeah, I think the dates for this were like, was it 2016 to 2017 or 2017?
Yeah. I see the dates right now. January 1st of 2017 to April 1st of 2018. So that's probably why quartering's not up there, because I honestly did not hear the quartering until the announcement of MythCon 5's lineup. So
he's like I say, he's new to the grift scene.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Also,
if this is done again in 12 months' time, he will undoubtedly, I think, be on that little graph.
Because if I could just say methodologically, the sample she took included all of the Richard Spencer stuff and the Worski flare-up. So this represents that time period.
Someone was
evolving.
Someone was saying, "Well, why isn't Kevin on the list?" Well, because I don't go on there agreeing with them.
Right. Yeah.
I go on these things to tell them they're talking shit. Actually, the difference. The point isn't you have a hangout with somebody. The point is you have a hangout and you fucking wank them off. That's the problem.
This is the point, and actually, Jonathan, we should emphasize this point. You know that little section you read before about who is so basically it's measuring influencers, which is defined in the paper, And
Right.
it basically means you're trying to gather followers and put out a message, and you're using your station as alternative news to the mainstream media. There's a whole thing in the book.
Right.
But what counts again in this mapping?
They're promoting a range of political positions from mainstream versions of libertarianism and conservatism to avert right nationalism. So Kevin wouldn't fit in that range of political position at all. So that's why he would not be on here. Period.
Yeah, and I would also say I would quibble with her inclusion of Destiny in that chart. I would argue
agree.
that
Yeah,
Destiny should not be on there. But he
Yeah,
also
because-
hosts a lot of people, so it could
Yeah,
be
and he's
platforming.
sort of a libertarian.
Yeah,
Agreed. He is a sort of libertarian, but he's a libertarian that I can have a conversation
Yeah.
with, or
Yeah,
because
he's
I
not a
agree
dick
with
or
what
he's a
anything.
left
Yes.
libertarian, like not in a
Exactly.
Sargon way, an actual left libertarian.
No, he's not a left libertarian either. He's very, very
Right.
pro-capitalism.
Yeah,
think
he's
it's
a
really
center libertarian because, like, if I hear left libertarian, I'm thinking of libertarian socialist, and Destiny's
exactly.
definitely not a socialist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking about like more people who are progressive who think we should have decriminalized pot and the
Right.
police state should be rolled back. But they're also very capitalist in the states that I've experienced. But anyway, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
So I just want to
Okay.
say, if I were to take the data, I would probably classify things a little bit differently based on my personal knowledge. And I don't agree 100%. I would have a reasonable objection to the inclusion of Destiny.
Really in Kiko. Come on.
Yeah. That's for all you sapiosexuals in the chat. Give you a little shiver of social science there for you. Yeah, so getting back from nice shivers to creepy shivers.
I don't know who the red-headed woman is.
Nope.
No, that's the Brittany Simon. I don't know
Never
who
heard of her.
she.
Never heard of her. Then we've got a boyfriend of Nicey McNice, who is tries to play Nicey McNice and said he was going to hold Trump's feet to the fire and hasn't said a word. Armored quote unquote skeptic.
I'm looking for him on the list.
I don't think he and June are on there because they don't do
Yeah, they're not.
and they don't platform.
I don't think so. And then we've got Creepy McCreeperson, Mr. Smalley.
Yeah, he's not on the list, but it's yeah, exactly.
He won't be on the list. Then we've got the most delightfully mustachioed gentleman in all of the world, Mr. Rowlands.
Yep.
Excellent
Mr.
MD.
himself.
Oh, then we've got Karen Strong. Where to even begin? Hosted Chris Caldwell and essentially jerked him off, metaphorically, of course, and intellectually. Said that Sharia law was very feminist. I don't even know where to begin with that one. She's odd. Also made a defense of domestic abuse, which was fun, and has done all manner of rape apologetics. Yeah, she is garbage. Oh, and of course, the pièce de résistance literally cried tears for Anders Behring Breivik, the Norwegian mass murdering terrorist. Yeah. So she's
I don't know if she's on there. She does have a YouTube channel, doesn't she?
Right,
she does, but she doesn't. She mainly does the Honey Badger stuff. She doesn't actually post on her post videos as such on her channel much anymore.
She doesn't go into like white nationalism either. So okay, but you're right.
With Chris Cantwell, she did.
Yeah, she did. But she's not big. Okay. I think we're getting there's only one person more that I know and two people that are okay we can mention and name drop. So yeah, the last one, Kev.
Blair White, a person I
definitely on there
talked to, is actual garbage. She's a foul person, bigoted on any number of fucking levels. Yeah, just very unpleasant.
Yeah, and then the last line, the only people I know are Sophane and Pat.
Whoa, time out. Yeah, I don't know who the person next to Blair White is. Don't know who that is, that dude. Then can you stop moving the thing?
Sorry, I was going to point at him, but then I realized that was a bad idea, and then there was a lag.
The avatar next to that is a guy called Declan Black from.
I know of him. He basically he's an ass licker for Carl.
Yeah. Basically, yes, that's a perfectly good description.
That's Declan Black?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
That's the avatar.
That's the avatar he used.
Oh, right, okay.
The bottom left, is that, it looks like, I'm not sure it is because I haven't seen his name connected with this, but is that Live Life 8072? It looks like him.
I don't know.
What line are you looking at?
Is he the one with the banana?
No,
Yes.
that's Fat Pat from Pat the Sophane, poisoning the well
Oh.
guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So
Right.
okay. So he's with
Okay.
Sophane,
Well,
okay.
tell him he looks like Live Life 8072, which is not
Okay.
necessarily a compliment.
Actually, I
Um,
talked to Sophane, but I don't talk to Fat Pat. He's mad at me because I was promoting that picture of him with the Kekistan flag and calling people who were doing that alt-light and alt-right, and he was in it.
Oh
But he was also in
no,
it.
Kristi,
Yeah.
don't present reality to people. That's
So
silly.
we didn't get on very well, but I'm okay with Sophane. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know.
But I don't have a big thing with Pat. He's mad at me more than I'm mad at him. So.
Well, I don't know obese Patrick. I don't know who's next to him. I don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
Or the person, the old guy who looks old.
Yeah.
And then Hunter Avalone, which is an interesting one. The final picture.
Ooh.
Yeah, apparently he's now an atheist, but when I knew him, as it were, he was a Christian fundamentalist, like an actual fundy fucking mental case, who's now apparently an atheist. But I presume is still as transphobic as he ever was.
Well,
Mm.
all of their topics aren't really to do. They're more politics this year than anything.
Well, exactly. It's
so.
not the idea that they can call themselves mythicism when they don't talk about mythicism or really even atheism at all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, none of their pounds is about that.
Look, the myth now stands for the bullshit these guys spin as an alternative reality to facts. That's what the myth is now. That's what it means.
Myth information conferences now.
Exactly. It's the misinformation. It's their bullshit. So, by the way, the bottom row, the first two people are Fat Pat and Sophane.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know them.
So.
Anyway, but Hunter Avalone, just final word. He's one of those people, along with Stephen Crowder and Paul Joseph Watson, who are incredibly transphobic, but are very, very comfortable dressing up as women.
Right.
Read into that what you wish.
So the last thing, because you talked about these squares, Jonathan, I just wanted to explain.
Who's the big square there? I can't.
Andy Worski.
Oh,
Right,
Race Worski. Okay.
So
Yeah,
Stephen
because of the
Millennial,
deep range. Mm-hmm.
and Carl. Well, Worski's the biggest, and then there's Millennial Woes. Well, no, Carl would think is second actually by the looks of it. So the way the chart works is it charts, as I said, over that time period, cross appearances and platforming and networking between these channels. And in that time period, Worski was very hot. It was the Kraut time, then it was Richard Spencer when he was trying to stay relevant, and then it just sort of became an alt-right channel. And Carl appeared on that, and then other things. So it looks at the connections, the cross connections between the channels, and the more times you have contact with people, it's darker red, and the more people you have contact with, your square is bigger.
Who's the very top name away from the pack? I can't read that one.
Someone I've never heard of. Henrik?
Yeah.
Henrik Pelgrim?
Oh,
Yeah.
That person there.
Palm
I think
Green.
it's best if I think if they're on this thing, it's best if we don't know them, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I sort of pride myself on knowing them, if that makes sense. Like, it's my business to know them.
I think you'll know everyone in the cluster. So inside, hello, stupid computer.
Yes.
You've got some black guy, you've got Coach Red Pill, you've got Lauren Southern, Stefan Molyneux, Crowder, Roaming Millennial, Black Pigeon Speaks, Worski, Faith Goldie, Jeff Holiday, Baked Alaska, Millennial Woes, Stick 666, Richard Spencer, and Brittany.
Garapi. Yes.
Yep, he's down there too.
Mm-hmm.
In the distance is Kraut, because he was obviously on the outs for this. Medicare.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm Kraut. As
Mitch.
much as it may have changed in recent times to some extent, he was a part of this. I don't think you can deny that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's certainly on the Islamophobia train. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No Bullshit makes an appearance. Dave Rubin is there.
Blair White's there, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Rogan.
Mike Cernovich.
Mike Prager, Dennis Prager, and Ben Shapiro. Is that?
Yep.
Candace Owens, of course. Owen Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all the shitlords from Twitter. And then people on the edges must be like Milo. He's obviously on the outs. Computing Forever is in the distance. Mundane Man is also in the distance. But some of these names I don't recognize. But it's sad how many I do. Mike Enoch.
It's some of the ones I know as well.
Jeff Holiday, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know of Blonde and Bellied Beast from Blanc Sprague. I know of Wife with a Purpose.
Well, you'll be interested to know, of course. She's also from Seattle.
Oh yes, I heard about that. Well, James Alsop, I believe, is also on this like chart as well. He
Yeah.
lives in Washington State,
He
so
does. Yeah, he attended one of the colleges there. Yeah.
How many
yeah,
women
Wazoo.
can we name? Wife
Tree
with a
of
purpose.
Logic, Tree of Logic, Wife Without Purpose, Blonde from Belly of the Beast, Blair White, I think Bree,
Brittany
Brittany,
Pettibone, Lana Lockwood.
Roman Millennials, if we haven't already mentioned her.
Maybe 10.
Candace Owen, Lauren Southern's on there, of course.
Mhm.
If we haven't already mentioned her.
So maybe we're like
Yeah, so
11 or 12.
there are probably about what 10
20?
women.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
have to actually do a proper count because it's hard on the screen. But yeah, but it looks like maybe 25%.
Yeah.
I'd say that sounds about right from my experiences. So, but I can do an actual proper count.
Oh, you
Not
just
on
want
air.
to nerd out with numbers. That's
I
what you're
do.
interested in there.
Ooh.
26.4% of these people were women. After a statistical cross-analysis of ages and distribution by geography.
Ooh, talk nerdy to me, Kevin.
Hey, math was my favorite subject in school because I was actually good at it.
So
Well,
I think
nothing was my favorite topic at school because I wasn't good at anything. So there we go.
I liked history and social studies, which is not surprising, and also languages and a little bit English. So
Drama later on in high school is one of my favorites.
Oh, can I brag a little bit? Can I tell you something
Sure,
that I learned?
why
Because
not?
we
You're
need a break.
hosting it.
Yeah. I learned something about Mark Rylance. Now, for those of you who might not recognize his name immediately, because he's mostly known for his work in the theater in Britain, mostly being one of the directors of the Globe Theatre. He was in Bridge of Spies. Did he win? I think he might have won an Academy Award for that. He's a very understated actor, really brilliant. But he was being interviewed, and they were talking to him about his experiences with drama growing up. And what I learned is that when Mark Rylance was a young boy, his family moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And when he was in the Milwaukee public school system, there was a very active drama group in his school. And so he got involved not only in performing, but in doing the sets and doing the lighting and doing the stage crew and the whole experience of being in theater. And when he graduated from high school in Milwaukee, he went back to the UK to study. And they said, did you feel like you were behind your peers? And he said, well, in terms of understanding the accents of Britain, I couldn't distinguish between the accents of people from different towns. But he said, in terms of my experience with theater, it was far deeper and broader than most of my colleagues because we don't have that, there isn't that kind of active drama program in Britain. And so I just want to say, I'm very proud that Wisconsin public education, before Scott Walker got a hold of it, was in part a ground in which Mark Rylance got his experience and love of the theater and produced one of the greatest actors of our time. So that's a nice little story bragging on my home state.
True, but also fuck the Packers. So.
Oh, hey, those fighting words. Tom's gonna make you take
Tom's
back all
in the
those
chat. He's going to have to work for you about that.
Mm-hmm. He's on my Hangout Sunday. This might be like turned into another diss track back and forth, going live stream beef.
Well, all I have to say to Tom is
internet blood sport.
You want to start, Tom? I will send you bits of your goat piece by piece in a fucking post.
Oh, that's cold. That is cold. So
look, I don't fuck around with sports, as you well know. I don't fuck around with sports.
Kevin, what has that goat done to you?
Exactly. You bring an innocent.
Look, the goat is an innocent party. The goat will be treated fairly as much as I possibly can. But if I have to hurt the goat in order to get it, actually, this is going to a really weird place now. Let's not, because the goat isn't real. It's a total fabrication.
Yeah, we should probably explain the goat lore. I don't know who wants to. Jonathan, are you up on the goat
when you say goat lore, you mean LORE rather than like law about animal treatment, like actual legal.
Yeah, not like judicial procedures and what Kevin can legally do to the imaginary goat.
Well, I can do anything to an imaginary goat. But in Wales, what I can do to an actual goat. I'm not doing anything to any goats, imaginary or real.
In Wales or in England? What about in Wales?
Well, that's really, really racist, and it's cheap, apparently, anyway. So yeah, you've got that wrong.
Very sheep? What?
I don't know. They must be barking.
Yeah, I heard of what some people do with sheep, and I'm just going to not ask any further questions. But like the goat story, basically, for those of you who are part of the happy endings and thus are the fan for Kevin and Kristi in the happy hours, last week I think it was in one of those hangouts where it was like the usual "fuck you" to Kevin, "fuck you" to Tom, that back and forth, and then Matthew, who's also a patron of yours and a friend of ours, Kristi's, that he asked, "Wait a minute, why this animosity between Tom and Kevin?" And basically, yeah, so it was like either Tom or someone else.
It was Natalie, I think it was.
Yes, it was Natalie. She said. Yeah, kudos to her. Said she said like, oh, it's because like Kevin stole it's a feud, a long feud when like a long time ago Kevin stole a goat from Tom, and so that started the story.
Well, he knows.
Kevin.
He knows. Tom knows. That was a shot across the bows. He knows I can infiltrate and pilfer any of his family items. I was just sending him a message with the goat.
Just to let him know you can.
Exactly. What's that? You reckon I can't steal all of your fucking cows? Think again.
So there we go. How did we get on the goat? I can't remember now.
Well, you buy it a drink first, surely.
Yeah, at least. And offer it a place in your bed and maybe tickets to MythCon.
Exactly. Feed it some hay. Feed it some hay. And then you can share its bed platonically even.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right after the VIP party.
And
I mean, there is that cloud over the goat, but I think it's fine. I think it's, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, there's a cloud over the goat. It's England. There's a cloud fucking everywhere.
It's the perpetual state of things.
Exactly.
All right. So,
like the old Bill Bailey joke about, was it when does the rainy season start in England? Well, it started in about the 12th century and has continued pretty much ever since.
Yes. And one of the other things I love when he said, when people ask, what's it like living in Britain? He's like, I don't know. We have nectar cards. Just thought that was...
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, so after that delightful little break, I guess it's time to go back to screen sharing. And by the way, it's definitely moving into the after bar here ourselves.
Well, I'm going to have to nip it in eventually. We've got a guest, so I'll let you off. But there's a lot of mission creep lately, and this is supposed to be an hour long. God damn it!
All right. Doesn't like
I'm doing nothing on days.
But yeah, getting on. Actually, we've got a bunch of tweets, so we'll probably get through that.
Well, talking about creeps on a mission.
Yes. So were you actually setting that up as a pun?
I wasn't setting that up, but I saw that face and I thought, you creepy fucking prick. I'm talking about the quartering now. I've got nothing to Brie Larson at all. She seems perfectly nice human being.
Right. So like ignoring that. I just wanted to point this out because one, he's going to be at MythCon, and we've given him shit for his sexist views in the past, and this is another example of one of his sexist, appeals or pandering. He put out, and I actually recommend if you go to Twitter, look this tweet up because he's getting ratioed, and the comeback, the tweets are pretty good. But he's mad because he claims that a bored middle-aged mom out of the grocery store making a superhero movie, and he wants to react to the trailer. So there we go. She's not smiling, so she must be bored.
And of course, unless we're living in Victorian London, 28 years of age is not middle-aged.
Yeah,
exactly.
28? Come on.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Because if she's middle-aged, then basically so are you. The quarter.
Yeah.
Because isn't he like 26 or something?
I don't keep track of these things.
Fair enough.
I'm 34. If 28 is middle-aged, I'm way over middle-aged then.
You're racing toward being old. I guess once you hit 40,
get in the coffin already, you fucking dusty old bastard.
I mean, I have gray hairs already in my beard, and it's like, oh God! But for me,
I just noticed. I've looked at your avatar a lot over the many years, and I've only just noticed upper center bulge.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't notice that before, but now I've noticed it. I can't notice anything else.
I should have cropped it better, maybe at least just for innocence or whatever.
Exactly. You should have cropped it way better because we can only just see the tip. I want to see the full package. What's going on here?
That's what she said.
Well, just for you, Kevin, I can send those pictures.
Oh God. Oh God. I did once have a very, very aggressive homosexual man try to come on to me on Twitter. That was weird. Because I mean, I didn't want to be rude to him, but wow, he was that was intense. Anyway,
Some of the comments. Wait, he thinks Brie Larson is middle-aged, so that by that rationale, girls he considers young and dating age is like 15 and 16. Now, why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's presumably if he thinks that 28 is middle age, then presumably wanking over a 14-year-old in a cartoon, it should be perfectly fine because everything's scaled down in his world where everyone dies at the age of 50.
Heavy Glitter says, if you think she's middle-aged, I dread to think what your views on age of consent are. I don't know if you guys can see this GIF, but it's so good.
I don't know why, but I want to hug that man. Not that man. That's a shitting rhino. That man. I want to hug him and say, it's okay. I don't know what you're upset about now. I don't know what you're reacting to. It's going to be okay. And then I want to lick chocolate from his beard.
I might have to lock onto my screen again so everyone gets the full chocolatey beard-licking man effect. There he is.
Don't you just a nice bit of sort of running Nutella and just beautiful stuff.
I think it's nice how there's so much symmetry between his hair and his beard. It's like it's not quite the same, you know.
Yeah, it's always a bit weird when you get because it must be weird because I know people who've naturally gone like grey beard but kept the hair like their normal color, and it's not they haven't dyed it, but it looks dyed as fuck. Whereas he's gone like full kind of Santa situation.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, just like solely owns it. No, like just for men and whatsoever. And then, I love that one. It's just like, I even without seeing the video, I'm sure that's what the video essentially is like.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is this is Jordan Peterson's lecture in a GIF.
Well, and that's kind of what they say. Omar says, for those who didn't watch the video, it's basically just this GIF, but sadder.
Fair enough.
FFS, just admit you hate women already. We'll save everyone else a lot of time.
Yeah, that's the basic gist of it, isn't it? Every time a woman or a black person does anything, the white men's. It's pathetic.
Lee Boone says that look on your face in the thumbnail is the look on my face while watching your video. So yeah, they just keep going.
Yes, me milk it.
This asshole again. So good. Yeah, reaction video. All right, so that was that one. So any last closing words on the quartering before we move on to Richard Carrier?
Dear the quartering, shut up.
Dear the quartering, if you really, really, really want fat material with underage girls that are sexually explicited or sexually objectified, there's ecchi anime. There's too many that I can list.
No, if he wants to masturbate over pictures of underage girls, please go to the police. You're a danger to society.
There's that too. Right. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, Richard Carrier, we brought him up in the last happy hour.
Penis Carrier!
We're still going back and forth on Twitter. We're still arguing this.
So because the dick is going back and forth. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
No matter how many times people try to explain to him that he is misusing his status as a speaker and his the power that he claims all these women have contacted him about being his date. He gets to then pick. So if you are picked by Richard Carrier, you are already in an asymmetrical power position, and now he's going to give you all this free stuff. And what if you decide you don't want to sleep with him, knowing what his expectations are and knowing that he picked you and that he's just given you this basically free access to the VIP package from MythCon to meet other speakers and to be with the coolest people in the conference? And he doesn't
Yeah,
get
exactly.
how the abuse of power.
Yeah, well, not just
Yeah,
that,
if
but
you
who would bet he's skeezy enough to actually kick that person out and say, "You can't even sleep in the bed, then get out." They turned him down at that point.
But one of the things he said that I thought was the most ridiculous, and really go to his feed because he just,
Mhm.
it's like he uses all 280 characters in every single tweet. And if you reply to one, with one thing, he'll give you three tweets in reply. It's ridiculous. But this was to me, aside from the ridiculousness of his lame excuses and almost purposeful unwillingness to understand the points people were making, is this tweet that he made to Kristi. So she basically said something along the lines of she doesn't really want to be around him in Milwaukee, and his reply. Okay, maybe I'm sorry, I wanted to go up, but I guess that's where it starts. If I open it up, I'm not sure where she says her thing. Maybe you do this.
So you don't know that's what she said.
Sorry, trying to think. She says here. Yes, that's what she said. No, it's what I don't know. She said. I just want him to stay away from me in Milwaukee. He said, "Are you going to be at MythCon? Because I'll gladly, avoid you if so. Your resistance to evidence and logic and commitment to mythology and ideology over critical reasoning makes you dangerous." Now, this is a guy who was pushing the
What?
idea that Jesus didn't exist against all critical scholarship
Yeah,
up
exactly.
until now.
Ridiculous. He's like the only person left who is actually a mythicist. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
and he called Christiosity dangerous.
Also, I quite like the fact that, and you know, he doesn't necessarily mean it in this way, but does Richard Carrier not like resistance?
Oh, you mean like
I guess- yeah.
Just say, I'm just allegedly, he's not a fan of resistance. That's all I'm saying. Allegedly.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this was just, I mean, I thought this was entirely out of order. And I wanted to, there's so much in that we could go over. And because we're already over
Well,
time and we've got Peterson to get to, I don't know if we want to go into the, because
no,
his
but
tweets are so
I
long.
just, yeah, I think it's just worth mentioning that Mythicist Milwaukee really don't even mind guests having a go at other guests and saying you're dangerous.
Well, they
Ridiculous.
did. No, they did respond when, like, Mike Rowan said that he was going to flip her like the bird and just walk off the
Oh,
stage.
or when Dusty
Apparently,
Smith
that's
was
a
going to
problem.
dance. Don't forget the dangerous dancing move by Dusty Smith
Oh
at the
yeah,
band.
that's fine. Yeah. Dancing is dangerous.
Mm.
Being in a really, like you say, asymmetrical power situation with a guy with alleged previous behaviour in this regard, that's not dangerous. That's fine.
Right. I couldn't resist. Can we go over this little exchange, this part here? So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
put out a poll and I stripped all of the Mythicist stuff and Richard's name.
So you stripped on a pole. Go on.
Yes. It was just another Wednesday night for me. And it says, you learn a featured speaker at a conference just posted to Twitter offering a free conference ticket, access to an after party, free drinks, and space in his bed in exchange for being his date that day and night. Is this appropriate professional conduct? And I had 185 people.
No.
Now, I
I
would have
won't reveal how I voted because it's a secret ballot, and I care about the democracy.
No, I ain't gonna admit it. I voted no.
yeah, as did 90% of the people who took part. And this was, again, it wasn't about, it was just a scenario. It was just an ethical question about the scenario. Is this appropriate? And clearly, the random, just a convenient sample of people who follow me on Twitter and those people who retweeted it and the people who saw it, whatever, that's a convenient sample. But what Carrier says in response, I'm trying to find it. It was in the last one.
What's Dickie's response? What's he been up to?
Yeah, I'm afraid if I go back, it's not going to go where I want. But
Go back. Always go forward, Kristi. You learn from the past.
he replied basically saying everybody who took part. Maybe show more replies because it might have taken him a
Yeah,
little
probably
while.
is down there.
And of course, what does it not do? It doesn't show me any more replies. But he basically.
Well, there are more replies, but maybe you have them muted.
Oh, that could be. He basically says that everyone who took part was a complete idiot. Oh, was this it? Yeah, this was it. Only in your echo chamber. 9 out of 10 irrational people with standards contrary to every industry who can't produce any intelligible defense of their position is not an argument in your favor.
He knows that all of those people are irrational because he's so rational.
Yes.
Because that in of itself is not an irrational response to just declare these people irrational, even though you literally don't know anything about them at
Yeah.
all.
Look, I say it's a convenience sample in the thing. It says a convenience sample shows that people overwhelmingly think the share a bed, platonically even, was unprofessional, 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
And
you weren't suggesting this was an absolutely scientific fucking result.
No. Yeah. And even in my echo chamber, it's still an ethical. It's a question of sexual ethics. And when he wrote his apology for when he got booted out of the Speakers Con and Skepticon, he said he was going to remain engaged with the community on issues of sexual ethics and leadership. And
he
yet,
was lying.
yes,
He was lying.
Yes, based on his behavior to me, because all of the people who are trying to explain the problematic nature of how he is abusing sexual ethics in a leadership position, he attacks like this. And he wants to talk about Christiosity, rejecting evidence, and all that other stuff.
But Kristi, even, he can't be the irrational one because the 9 out of the 10 people are irrational. He said so.
Anyone who disagrees with him is irrational. That's a racist position.
I can think of a reason to just like disregard these results because it's all from your echo chamber. Yeah.
Yeah. Do it again. Replicate the study. I would be surprised if you got much variation. Might be 88 to 12%. It might be around that. But if you get anything close to 50-50, I would be shocked because you know what? Most people recognize that's not professional conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're like a teenage boy who's like, yeah, I would totally use that to get laid. Maybe.
Well,
but I
that's the
think
thing.
better of teenage boys.
Well, Richard Carey, I think, has had a taste of the Sargon fan base type situation where they are 15-year-olds, whether literally or mentally or emotionally. That's exactly where they're at. So to them, this isn't a bad thing at all. To them, this is a perfectly reasonable situation.
So wait, if you go and look at his feed, it's an exercise in psychological projection, shutting out people and feigning ignorance at very obvious concepts. So intellectually dishonest, motivated for very obvious reasons, by very obvious reasons, in my opinion. He doesn't want to stop doing this. He doesn't want to stop using these kinds of things to access sex. And people who criticize him for it are threats to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't tell me I'm wrong. How dare you?
Yes.
On a slightly different note, I've just gone onto my Audacity and it says disk space remaining for recording 670 hours and 5 minutes. How much fucking recording do they think I'm going to do? 670 hours, you mentalists.
Kevin, in case you have that, it's a Baked Alaska backup plan.
Oh,
if you do 9 hours straight out of a parking lot, they want to have you back on
hours. And 9 hours of him mostly walking around Los Angeles, not talking, and then
those are the best bits.
And then boasting about how successful he is 2 weeks before he's forced to move back to Alaska into his mom's fucking basement. Brilliant. Well done.
So, so just again, entertaining feed. So moving from Baked Alaska over to a different kind of...
Going from Baked Alaska to totally not baked Ontario.
Canada.
Yeah. Going from Baked Alaska to sober poutine.
I wanted to highlight this because Mr. Free Speech dude it's come out that he threatened to sue somebody for calling him a misogynist. Now this is an article we covered here.
Yeah, it wasn't just her, was it? It was Vox that she was writing in, and her university possibly as well.
Yeah, her university as well.
Cornell. Yeah.
Right. So the person that is being menaced here is Kate Mann. Where's her name? I want to make sure I get it right.
It's either Mann or Manet.
Yes, she did the revision of the concept of patriarchy to.
It's also as if you've got like a problem with powerful, intelligent women.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Who criticize him too?
Yeah, exactly. Or am I reading too much into that with the brutal male dominance?
Yes. Again and again, feminists want brutal male domination. That's definitely a Peterson.
Oh, Jordan Peterson, you fucking prick.
This is why the feminists seem to be so fascinated with the Middle East and men in the Middle East and Sharia law, because they want that same treatment for
Oh God,
them.
it's like
and
he's in the room. Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I'm here all night. Thank you.
Yes. So Kevin was right. Kate Mann, one of the two. But she developed this notion of patriarchy more clearly. Misogyny more clearly. That talks about directing anger, hatred, resistance at women who break traditional feminine norms and roles. So it's not that when you're a misogynist, you just blindly hate women. Although there are those kinds of misogynists in the incel community. This is men who accept when women operate within a traditionally feminine sphere and sort of reward them for that, maybe even giving them they can rise in a limited way in a community to tell other women they shouldn't do those kinds of things. And
although Jordan Peterson's a sort of weird mixture, because he sets it up so they can't win, because like you say, I think he does apply that, where if you are traditionally feminine, he will respond positively to that. But he also does the thing of, maybe women shouldn't be allowed to wear makeup in the workplace because the rape accusations or some nonsense, you know what I mean? Like, he sets it up so you can't win.
We don't know the rules. We don't know all these rules. Things happening behind closed doors, and the rules are just made up. It's insane.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just made up, right?
Well, I now know if I want someone to read over some Jordan Peterson lines, I know who I'm going to record that for, man.
No problem.
He auditioned. See, that's why he wanted to get on air. He wanted to do his Peterson audition.
Yeah, leggings, man. Well, that's fair enough, because if I had that Peterson talent, if I could do the voice, I'd do little else. I would literally walk around in my daily life with that, and people would fucking knock me the fuck out for being a twat.
Well, I had at some point in the past bought a Puppet B and called it Jordan B. Peterson. So if you wanted Jonathan to do the dialogue and then for me to do the puppeting and record it in the camera, you could have that.
Oh God. I'll
post a picture of Jordan B. Peterson in the Facebook group if people remind me. But so she had this man had this notion of misogyny that was more about reacting against women who want to break those traditional norms, and was talking about it in a Vox article and mentioned Jordan Peterson because he's a good example. And he wrote he wrote to threaten to sue her for defamation because she said true things about him. Now he hasn't followed up apparently, but he talked about vicious libeling by referring to him as a misogynist. And it would impugn his honesty and integrity. The man who has multiple times been on stage talking about women wanting brutal male domination thinks that he's being defamed, there's a pattern of people who claim they are for speech when it comes to their rights, but then use tactics to intimidate and stop the speech of others, like his list of academics that he wanted exposed. And he's got this pattern. Yes. He's got these patterns of trying to silence people. He doxed students who were criticizing him.
Yeah.
Right? If he was what Sargon and the rest considered an SJW, he would be their number one target right now.
Yeah, exactly. With also like if he's like the same kind of person that has like the books and has the reach that Jordan Peterson currently has, but he was a SJW, yeah, he would be like number one enemy of like the skeptics. I agree.
Yeah, he's it also says in the article about him, it says something about he's in the actual letter to this man or whatever her name is, he will do anything in his power to protect his professional credibility or something. And I thought, well, that ship has sailed. That horse has bolted a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I think I saw, no, I didn't. I know I saw people on Twitter reacting to this by tweeting at him, "Hey, Jordan Peterson, you're a misogynist." So.
Yeah, exactly.
And I changed my Twitter handle to read "The GOP is a rape culture" and Jordan B. Peterson, a misogynist.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and that, as I said earlier, don't speak truth to them. They don't like that.
Yeah. Yes.
That's silly.
Facts hurt. Ooh,
exactly.
Yeah. Observation.
I'm not a misogynist, even though I regret how nowadays you cannot hit women without social repercussions. How dare you say that?
Yeah.
You went a bit German there. I have to say. You went a little bit German. And you know what? It actually helped the character. I think it took it to a different place. It was a brave but a good acting choice. Well done.
Brave and
Jo
active.
się ścigę po fraśle kana na nica na kusa te kana.
Okay, that was just racist. That was just racist. Outrageous.
I apologize. I apologize to Mariana in the chat. I apologize to all my German friends. I apologize to Rumo.
You weren't speaking German.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what it was, but that wasn't German. No,
yeah, I don't think it offended anybody. It's okay. I'm joking. You offended plenty of people. Well, that's all I have, and we're only 20 minutes over, and I know Kevin doesn't want too much more mission creep. So I'll just do a call out to see if either of you had anything else you wanted to bring up or expand upon before we wrap up the show.
Oh, well, with Brexit, my country is literally fucked.
Oh, yes. I think it's worth talking about this because there was a thing that happened in Salzburg and I missed it, and I'm hoping you can give me the skinny on it.
Yes, there was a leaders meeting in Salzburg because currently Austria is the president, has the presidency of the European Union because they take it in turns each year. Each country gets to take it in turns as the president country of the European Union, which basically means they get to host shit. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's just a sort of formal thing. Anyway, so Salzburg, a city in Austria, they had a leaders meeting where all the leaders of the nations and the leader of the European Commission and so on got together. And amongst other things, they were talking about Brexit, which is Britain leaving the European Union. And the Prime Minister, Theresa May's Chequers plan, Chequers being the country resident of the Prime Minister, but it's now given its name to this plan she had for exiting the European Union, was soundly rejected, as I predicted it was the second I fucking heard about it, because it was an unworkable fudge of a situation where reality meets the rubber of reality meets the road of conservative right-wing shitbaggery. So yeah, the country's now fucked. It looks like we're going to get a no-deal Brexit, or possibly a second referendum, or possibly a general election, or possibly some sort of Mad Max Thunderdome situation. I don't quite know, but the Prime Minister tried to tough it out today with a statement, and she tried. If you get a chance, look at the last 5 seconds of it because it's hilarious. She does like a really serious face at the end, as if she's some sort of fucking gangster mafia boss, and then just walks away. And it's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen from an elected representative, outside of everything Donald Trump's ever said. But other than that, the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. It was pathetic. She must have really, really tried to practice that, and it came across as it would do, as a middle-aged white woman pretending to be really hard when actually she's just a petty functionary who's elevated way above anything she's actually capable of. Yeah, my country is actually fucked.
Yeah.
Can I just say though? I mean, I smiled when you said the Thunderdome thing, which you can't hear. I did smile, and then though I pictured Theresa May dressed like Tina Turner from the video from the Mad Max.
Yeah.
And actually, if you just picture her, no matter what face she has on, but dressed like Tina Turner in the Mad Max video.
But she's starting to look quite ill. She's looking more like Tina Turner after the smack got hold of her. To be honest, that's more of it.
Ouch. Okay, well, I don't know that Tina Turner phase of life. I didn't see the movie, but all right. But yeah, so anyway, just to say that if you put it in the terms of Thunderdome, at least it's slightly more entertaining while the ship goes down, while the Titanic sinks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I say that humorously, but I mean, there's talk of like having medicines stockpiled, and oh, don't worry, there will be adequate amounts of food.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, are we now a third world nation all of a sudden?
So
can
I ask?
Oh yeah, when we decided to shoot ourselves in the bollocks for no fucking reason.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Nigel. Thanks, UKIP.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. When did it go from all of their great promises? It was going to be the easiest deal ever. £350 million a week for the NHS. It's going to be fantastic. To don't worry, there will be ample food. A British minister of the government actually said that, as if we're supposed to go, oh well, that's reassuring. Thanks. I didn't realise we were now some sort of third world nation now.
I think it's developing. Yeah, the third world is still very like a Cold War frame of reference for. I mean, this is from international relations that I studied, but yeah, the
Okay, but to be fair-
underdeveloped and developing, and then the
To be
developed
fair,
world.
to be fair, right? The happy hour is not an international diplomatic fucking study or something. It's not
You
like
say with 3 people from 3 different countries on the hangout.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but we all understand what I mean when I say third world. Yes, it's an outdated phrase. Okay, fine, but you understood what I fucking meant by that.
Yes, but
There's
I'm
no
just
one at
Yeah,
home
yeah.
going.
I'm
"You
raising your
there's only
consciousness,
one.
Kevin.
There's only one Earth. Is he talking about a third Earth? What on earth is he talking about? I'm mad. Like, no, you understood what I meant there. And
I'm
also,
just
some of
updating.
those nations aren't even fucking developing, really, are they? They're being shit on by massive powers. So that's fucking wrong.
No,
Yeah,
it is. So there's the underdeveloped countries. Those are the ones you're thinking of. Then there's developing countries, and then there's the developed world because there isn't a second world. The first world was the West. The second world was communist states. The third
Yeah.
world was basically
Well, I
everyone
still
else.
think, to be honest, I still think the Second World thing applies because the Eastern European nations are still lagging vastly behind. Even we've seen in Eastern Germany, what was East Germany, the GDR.
Oh, Kevin, you still there?
Years.
You dropped out a little bit.
Hello.
yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
was just,
just
well, I'm
lost
just
a little.
saying, what East Germany still hasn't caught up with the rest of Germany, and that's been a unified nation for 25, 30 years now. So I think the Second World theory still applies.
Look, if you're very attached to your Reagan foreign policy Cold World
No.
linguistic
Hang on, no,
discourse,
don't try and tag this in with the actual fucking policy involved here. It's a description of on the ground reality, which is still true. The nations of the former Soviet bloc are still very different economically, culturally than the rest of Western and Central Europe.
right? But
It's
third
just
world
true.
became basically a pejorative term to mean
Well, it may
white
be, but I
places
don't
with
mean
brown
it.
people,
Well, I
and
don't
that's why
mean
they
it that
changed it to
way.
developing world.
There are loads of white countries that are shitholes as well. I'm not being racist. I'm just being generally anti-human.
Now you're talking about people who like pretend they're used. Oh, when I was growing up, we used it. It just meant insulting.
I am an equal opportunities misanthrope. Okay.
There you go. But
Put
back
that
to
on a
Britain.
fucking
Back to the dumpster fire that unfortunately is the future international trade and movement in your country. What would a second referendum do? What are you going to do? Untrigger the trigger? You're going to put the toothpaste
Oh yeah,
back in
well
the.
they've already said that at any point before actually leaving, we can essentially put the process into reverse. Yeah, we can. You can extend the negotiation period. Would be the initial step, as long as the other 27 agree, which they would. There's no because they don't want this. This is economic fuckery on a massive scale. It's more, but it's bad for us because we're losing 26 rich partners. They're losing one rich partner. But even so, it's still fuckery for them. They don't want it, so they would extend it. We'd have a second referendum. There's no doubt at all which way that would go because people have now seen the reality of it, and it's just horrific.
I'm not sure. I'm sure if there's a second referendum, it will go the opposite direction because remember, after the first referendum, people actually Googled Brexit.
Well, no, exactly. No, that's what I mean. There's no doubt it would go with remaining in the EU because
exactly.
people had this idea that it was going to be really easy. It was going to be fast, and it's just ridiculous. The lack of realism in any of this from the Leave side was remarkable. Which I knew at the fucking time. I knew it was a lot of bollocks.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the EU make it easy for people to leave? It doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't suit anyone's interest for that to happen. And it doesn't suit the interest of the European Union to lose one of its major financial backers. So why would they make it easy for anyone to leave? And of course they've got to look after it from the perspective of their future arrangements. They've got to make it as the best they possibly can because they're going to remain in the European Union, of course. And so now people see the reality of it. It's gone from being, it's going to be the best thing ever to, well, we're building up stockpiles of medicines just in case. I mean, are we going to war? The fuck?
Is there going to be a blockade outside of like Southampton?
Well, no, the basic problem is this: the European Medicines Agency, which you have to be a member of the European Union to be a part of. We're a member of, but when we leave, we don't have a reciprocal medicines trading agreement with the European Union. So if we have no deal, we literally don't know how we're going to be able to buy medicines from the continental companies like Pfizer and Bayer and various other huge medicines companies. We're slightly fucked. So we've been stockpiling those because, this is such a great thing for Britain. So yeah, the people of Britain will vote overwhelmingly to remain. Now, I'm not saying that will actually happen because the Tories are massively divided on this. But what I do know is that even if there is a deal, there's no way it gets through Parliament. So we're stuck with a no-deal situation, and that could lead to anything. I listed off the thing. It could mean a change in government. It could mean a new election. It could mean a second referendum. It could mean a total collapse of the Parliament as it is. Who knows? It's just a total stalemate and a fuck up. So yay.
I just wonder, will British politicians, will Britons now listen to experts after all of this?
Well, it's fuckery because they were going on about, the experts don't know what they're talking about, but then would cite their own experts.
So I was in the UK around the time it was being debated, and then we talked to people afterwards. And one of the things that did come up was when, for instance, BBC4 would put on people to talk about the future of Brexit, they'd bring on two economists who would say completely different things. Because you know what? Predicting the future is hard. And it's very impossible to do in some situations. And people were getting information from experts, but the experts were disagreeing. And it was not very clear what the implications were. And I think the process has shown that the implications were not fully thought out or really looked at in policy detail, like what would happen with flights, what would happen with medicine. I think if these kinds of things were talked about, it would have been different. But there were bigger, more vague questions about the economy and movement of people and immigration and control of the borders. And you have to remember the Brexit debate was really about an anti-immigration sentiment, the feeling that we're an island and we have too many people and we can't have more people coming on. So people were willing to take economic hits if they had their they felt were strong borders. But what they ended up getting was neither.
Yeah, it was about xenophobia, pure and simple, as far as I'm concerned, for the most part.
Exactly.
But now it's about money.
Yeah. Well, there are still some people, and the same people who were for it in the first place, the likes of Farage, who literally want Brexit at all costs. They don't give a fuck if it cripples the country economically, politically, diplomatically. They don't care. They just want to get rid of Johnny Foreigner.
Like for Carl, it's ideological.
Yeah, they just want to get rid of Johnny Foreigner. They don't want foreign people. Yeah.
Well, and of course, in Carl's case, he's a British nationalist, which means he's not a white nationalist because he doesn't want to kick brown people out of the UK. He just wants to stop all immigration so they always stay a permanent minority and they can't threaten his white culture, his idea of white culture.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't want to be too down on Britain, but there's so much about British culture that I'd be more than happy for immigrants to fucking destroy.
Like what?
Like much of what Carl and Dankula and fucking Nigel Farage like about Britain. This idea, this farcical notion of Britain as this liberal bastion, this farcical notion that Britain is some sort of a nation of the fair play and the free speech. It's bollocks.
But how would immigrants...
Winston Churchill, right, is lauded as one of the great Britons of all time. He sent British army troops to shoot, including killing several miners at Tonopanda. They were striking miners, and he sent the British army in to fire upon live rounds upon them. The idea that Britain is this great fucking bastion is nonsense. It's a thin veil of civility.
Well, it's like whitewashing the Civil War. You have people even hundreds of years later who want to say it's about states' rights. It was the states' rights to keep slaves as legal, as a legal practice. That's what they wanted. But I don't know how that. I don't know that immigrants could really do that.
No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting that I'd be happy with it completely. But there's much of that kind of middle class bullshit. And when I say middle class, I don't mean that in the American sense. I mean that in the genuine British sense. Kind of middle and upper class bullshit about British society that I despise. That if immigrants want to come in and completely rip up, I'm fine with that. Or if the native people, I would hope, would fucking grow a spine and do so, but they don't.
But but the kind of political ideology that Carl Paul Joseph Watson come from, if you have people who are integrating and winning British Bake Off, then everything is rigged to be about multiculturalism. So they don't want them represented. They don't want them integrating.
Yeah, of course they
claim
fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it
not
Because-
about
because-
integration. It's never about integration. It's all
Right.
they don't want people who look and act differently to them.
Yeah, because it's like if like the people who look and act differently become the new normal, what does that make me? And they're definitely afraid of that.
Yeah. And also Carl's totally talking shit about his granddad being black. I think that's been absolutely proven now. He was totally full of shit. It's a lie.
Oh, Sargon line. How? I never imagined that. Huh?
Well, I for me.
Can we talk about something vaguely happy to end the show on? Because my existential crisis about the country I live in and have to live in sinking into the fucking morass. Can we talk about anything else? Have we
Look,
got
if
like
it's
a cock
something,
joke?
look, I have actually faith in the British people to pull their heads out of their asses at the last minute, because
God.
you guys have done this in the past where you've done a major international about face and retreated. You had a lot of practice under colonialism and how to take the L.
Kristi,
You guys had a lot of practice in taking the L, and I believe in your ability to take the L on this and stay in the EU. I think the British people will demand a referendum, and everything will happen around February, and it'll be a last-minute pullout.
well, that's what she said. I love your optimism, but I also deeply disagree with your optimism.
Well, that's okay because you're British.
Yeah, exactly. But oh God, it's just.
So we need a happy story. I don't know if we want to throw anything else in.
Well, yeah, because like Kevin, you thinking about like your country, I'm thinking about my own country, and I'm sadly kind of like almost in your headspace. It's like I'm
It's
hoping
okay because in Germany there's just been sort of weird neo-Nazi race riot type stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
When we look back, we're going to realize that the early part of the 21st century was a sort of rise of anti-democratic forces within democracies, and how we handle it going forward will determine whether or not we have a democracy in 100 years. I can't overemphasize this. Voting in the midterm elections and getting everyone to vote for the Democratic Party, whether you like them or not, just as a stopgap.
Yeah.
Even as the least worst option, is still better than living under fascism.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Positive thing to end on. There's been some amusing.
No, I thought you were saying that comparatively was a positive thing, but no, we will get to the positive thing eventually.
Yeah, there's been some amusing toadstool Trump penis memes going about.
Oh yes, we actually have one in the group.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Yeti pube memes, which is disappointing.
No,
for me.
I
If someone wants to
agree.
point those out to me, that would be
We
good.
have to fill that gap in the market, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We need some memeing on the left to break down that stereotype the left can't meme.
Well, it's not even a stereotype. It's just a thing right-wing people say. It doesn't matter if
Oh,
it's
yeah,
true.
you're right,
They've
you're
got
right.
fucking
That's
Ben
fair.
Garrison cartoons. They can fuck off. Like, do you know what I mean? The idea
Yeah.
that the left can't meme is absurd. Oh wow, they've got the OK symbol and they drink milk and Pepe. Fuck off, can you meme, you pricks?
Yeah, and Pepe wasn't even their original creation. They just stole it from somewhere else and just take it as theirs. Yeah, they're not creative at all, honestly.
All right, so you guys can see my screen. I'll share it here in a second. Oh no, you guys can't see my screen, but I'm trying to find the pictures from the group, so just so you know. But for some reason, my computer is stuck.
You're gonna have to show us the screen then at some point, aren't you?
Yeah, I will. I'll find it first. And then I'll bring
She
it up.
knows.
Yeah,
I will mention that.
Go ahead.
I will mention that I did change my Twitter handle today to Mushroom Cock and Yeti Pubes.
The fucking weirdest sounding ingredients for a meal I've ever heard.
So if you follow at some random geek, that is 33 in the word geek, then you will see my screen name as Mushroom Cock and Yeti Pubes.
I did an anagram of Yeti pubes. I stand pie or something. I can't remember what it is now. And that was, and then I had the mushroom image before it, and then the anagram for Yeti pubes because it was you get that. Right. So now, dang it, I'm having a hard time with this. Here we go. So yes, this was found on Twitter.
That looks like it looks like a Trump candle.
You said that, but I don't know how you can think it looks like a candle when it
It's got
clearly
a
looks
wick coming out at the end of its cock.
Well, I didn't think of that as to me it looked like a carrot with a new root growing, but yeah, I
No,
could see where that's
that's clearly a wick on a Trump cock candle.
So that came up on Twitter, and then
That's what she said.
Yes, and then let's see. I'll just do this quickly. It's a public group, so it's all right. So there we go. See that?
Yep, I see that too.
Well, it's only when you get that with the two of them together like that you realise that the carrot just isn't orange enough.
So there you go. That's not your fuel for everyone in the chat. Enjoy. And that's that's in the group. If you want to have it for yourself, you can go find it there.
Yeah,
you can make it
go and join the group because something it's awesome.
Yeah, and then we also put up links to the podcast when I actually get around to doing them.
Yeah, indeed. So.
Yeah. So that nightmare fuel now. That's definitely a more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, I posted one of I didn't make it, but someone made it of the Sharon Stone scene where she crosses her legs and with Donald Trump's face over her face, and then in the open leg thing, you see an upside down toad from Mario Kart between the legs, and that made me feel slightly sick whilst also laughing hysterically. So I thought, well, I'm posting that out to everyone. Yes,
that's amazing.
If I have to explain.
Oh no, you dropped out again a little bit, but you were experiencing it than everybody else has to.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I shared the image of, I believe, Trump with the carrot legs onto my Facebook, and I think my brothers said, "I cannot unsee this now."
No, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. All right, guys. Well, on that, Jonathan, because Kevin is always so resistant, and you're pro chat. Is there anything from the chat that have you watched it at all? Have you been checking it out?
I have watched it, and so I have been monitoring. So there's been interesting conversations, but I have. But I didn't want to share it because on air because it's usually is something that it's something you gotta see when it goes live, the replay, something like that, and then also we can just nominate some of the highlights from the chat and stuff like that. And I can't really think of anything. There were a couple of times when I was just laughing out loud. It was because Annette posted vote blues 11/6/18. With a mushroom emoji, and that caused me to laugh.
Yeah. Well, when I go back, I'm going to be back in the States on a holiday, and I'm going to probably end up doing some canvassing there for the Democratic candidates for the state election. And
I'm elections. I'm going to work with Planned Parenthood. I joined their activism group essentially. So I'm going to be doing some canvassing when I have a free Saturday, free Sunday as well. So
yeah, I might have to go out and get a what's a toad T-shirt. Yeah, handing out with it. See how many people get the joke.
Yeah. Well, a small number, but not a freakishly small number.
That was a reference to Kevin's comments in the last hangout, which if you haven't heard, you can go catch the podcast or on either of our channels. So, Jonathan, is there anything coming up on your channel that you want to plug before we wrap this up?
If I actually get to work, and I will plan to, I'll go and plan to post up on some more movie reviews and stuff like that. I think I'm going to the next movie review I plan to edit together and post up is Lou of the Wall. It's an anime movie I saw months ago. I thought it was really good, but some reason I will just quickly share some recent movies I saw recently. Searching is really good. I strongly recommend that one. I actually like White Boy Rick. It's kind of like Blow, except that the main character is a teenager. And go subscribe to my channel, Summer and the Geek. I'll try to post some more things. Maybe do I will eventually do the political compass test and either record that and put it up on my channel or just stream it live. So keep eye out for that. And at
in an hour and 15 minutes, will be like Sheaves Drive Ask Away, and I'm going to be in the live chat for that. And also, I'm not sure, I haven't checked, but like Ted Shiras usually does like a live hangout, SPAC chat, where basically he reads off questions from the live chat. Tom is usually in that live chat, and if I remember, and yes, and if I remember, I'll probably wake up and be in a live chat for Ted Shirat's SPAC chat. So check out Ted Shirat's channel as well. And yeah, that's it for me.
Ted is fucking awesome, and as we already learned, massive cock.
The hung horse of the Shire. What was that nickname you gave him?
Yeah, and I'm not talking about he's hung like a Shire horse's cock. I mean, he's got a cock the size of a fucking horse. Enormous.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but now I forgot. That's all right. It probably wasn't important. Kevin.
You were distracted by a massive cock.
Oh, I was completely distracted by the mental images of massive cocks. You're right. But now I remember what it was. It had to do with the fact that I have something for Jonathan. If I can't make the live show, a question for Ted that I have, and maybe I can just ask him directly, but if you do it on a show, then more people will see it. I've learned from watching reaction videos to rap battles and rap songs that when a rapper speaks really fast or in a very punctuated sort of, spitfire, sort of machine gun kind of way, they call it spazzing out. And they don't mean it in a negative way at all. It's actually like, it's a really high way of, it's a very technically proficient way of doing rap, and because they speak about spitting rhymes, so there's a lot of and then the spazzing goes with that. So I was wondering if in that context, I think spaz is a negative term, and I don't use it to describe people.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I even heard that word used, and that's why it stuck out to me. But if it's used in that context to describe that technique, would he find that use offensive, or does he think that the decontextualization from the negative connotations to actually describing something more positive is maybe an okay use of or appropriation of that term?
Did you just eat a fucking thesaurus? Jesus.
This is what I like Kristi Winters. She's so nerdy.
This is what it's like to live in my head, Kevin, every day, all the time.
Well, it's not too different for me, honestly.
If you get really drunk on Guinness and then imagine yourself living in a kaleidoscope, that's my
Tell you what, someday I'll come to Birmingham. We'll get drunk on Guinness and we'll find a kaleidoscope, and we'll see if I can walk and watch one part of a kaleidoscope out of one eye and walk with just looking straight ahead with the other.
That sounds amazing. What a holiday.
Kevin, is there anything on your show or your channel coming up that you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm going to get the Descent of Manosphere, the International Conference on Men's Issues 2018, that fucking forest of MRA derp. I'm going to get that out hopefully in the next week. God, it's been dragging, that one. Yeah, and what else? Just some shit.
All right. So the usual.
Yeah.
For you. Yeah, as for me, I haven't been able to do as
much. No one asked, Kristi.
Yes.
So you don't get to plug your stuff.
Anyway. I don't care.
And Kristi, what do you have coming up on your channel? Now someone has asked.
Oh, see, now here's Jonathan subverting the dynamic.
See, this is why I don't allow the peasants on the show. They get ideas above their station, and now I'm going to have to execute them. Like the feudal lord that I know myself to be.
Send him back to the chat. You brought him up to the manor house for the night. Send him back to the surf house.
No. I live in the Seattle area. I actually live on the feudal lord of Jeff Bezos. So there's that. So I actually know what it's like to be a surf, huh?
It's okay, but as I like the technically they're called faggots. A little historical fact for you there. The bundles of hay around him. As I set him on fire at the stake, I will be saying, Kristi, you brought it on him. You allowed him to come. You knew what was going to happen.
Went ahead and did it anyway. So,
women, you can't trust women. If there's one thing we've learned from tonight,
yes. Yes, for dipping back into
trust
incel
women,
world.
So I was channeling my Jordan Peterson there for a second.
Oh, okay. I thought you were dipping into incel world, but they're so similar. It's kind of hard to tell them
Well,
apart.
yeah, they're the lines are rather more blurred than I think either of those groups of people would like to admit.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, let's not have to get on another topic, another sad topic.
Anyway, Kristi,
Yeah,
what
I
the
was gonna
fuck are you up to?
So I haven't been able to do quite as much produced content, honestly, because I'm being
Lazy
given
fucker. Lazy.
more responsibilities at work. So yeah, which is
Oh right, just being productive in the real world and actually
just
making a
getting pushed
contribution
into
to
lower middle
academia.
management.
Jesus.
Civil servant being pushed up the chain of command. Anyway, I'm hoping to balance that out by doing shorter videos rather than longer ones, and like I said, and then spending more time on the one on the Catholic Church. But the next thing coming up on my channel is Sunday. We have our patron hangout. So we're going to hear
I'll be
from
there.
Tom. Yes, you'll be there. Tom will have his report from Women Work, the Secular Women Work Conference. And also, I'm trying to push my patrons into letting me completely nerd out and go through the PDF on the YouTube Alternative Influencer Network because I got a copy of it. I printed it out. And I've read the executive summary and the first two sections, like on the theory and the stuff we covered today. But she does some really interesting theoretical analysis on like the common ideological sort of positions or topics that come up.
Oh, Kristi, stop! I'm going to wet myself.
So I'm looking forward to nerding out and trying to get them to. Yeah.
Have you got it pinned up on your wall? Is it like that meme, the conspiracy meme thing where he's got like the thing on the wall?
Well, that's what the graph looks like. That graph looks like the red twine all over on all those different names all connected. It's a conspiracy.
Kristi's got it on her wall, and she's studied. She knows every inch of that
Kevin,
paper.
it's next to my pillow.
Well, fair enough.
She reads it every night. Yes. No, Kristi, I am all for that. I want to read that PDF too. If you link it into the group or something like that, then yeah, I will definitely when I have time, definitely look over it because I want to be nerd out over this thing too. Yes.
Especially since it annoys people like Sargon immensely.
Oh yeah.
I want people to understand the methodology. Basically, it's inductive methodology and where it's sound and where one reasonable people could quibble. But overall, she's being data driven and drawing conclusions from observation. So
stop.
Okay, so that's a preview of Sunday. If you want to come along, you can check out this channel on Sunday.
I don't like to cut you off mid-nerd stream, but we're nearly 2 hours in, and this is dangerous territory. Because if we keep going on this, it could be a fucking days later. Those 669 hours of remaining disk space, I know would have to be tested. It'd be severely tested.
All right, I'll keep the wolf at the door. I'll hold off. That's what he said.
Yes, indeed.
Until Sunday.
Yeah, but he lied. He came everywhere. It's ridiculous.
He came everywhere.
Right. So everyone, you guys in the chat have been awesome. People in the future watching.
No, you haven't. None of you have.
Thanks for watching.
No.
All the way to the end. Kevin's been naughty boy as always, and Jonathan's been delightful and taking my side, which I really like. So more of that.
Thank you very much.
From guests. Thank you. Goodbye from me, and goodbye from the rest of the guys. Say goodbye, Jonathan.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
And say goodbye, Kevin, the very naughty boy.
Goodbye, Kevin, the very naughty boy.
Bye, you guys.